What's up, everyone? My name is Michael DeLu. All right, and I want to thank you for even clicking on this episode of my podcast. Before I get to the episode, I would just like to ask that if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, comment on the video because it helps me tremendously in obtaining my long-term goals. All right, enjoy the episode.
Let's go! Yes! Let's do this shit! All right, so my name is Michael DeLu. Today is Wednesday, September 29th. This is episode 68 of Pull Up the Tape. I'm locked. I'm loaded. I'm on big bullshit today. Let's get it. Let's get it. Oh my God, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to knock out today's podcast. Oh, sorry for the stutter. Just really excited. All right, so this is going to be a quick podcast, not really too much to talk about today. You know, midweek, it's a little hard to, really have a long episode or whatever because there's not really too much going on. There's only a handful of games that actually matter in the Champions League, especially in the group stage. So I'm going to get to the most important game that happened yesterday, and there's a lot of important games today. And then I'm going to get to some very big news within the boxing world. So the very first thing I'm going to talk about today is PSG versus Manchester City. Okay, so Paris Saint-Germain defeated Manchester City with a scoreline of 2-0, and it was there's a lot to take from the game, so I'm just highlight the most important points. So first of all, credit to Idrissa Gueye and Leo Messi for the incredible goals they scored. Definitely showed like the difference, like what the Champions League is really about. Like those two goals that I saw yesterday were like exquisite goals, like high class, top quality goals. Idrissa Gueye's goal was incredible. Like you couldn't the way he scored that goal, it was just like wow, like how much further could you go to the top? Like there was no way Ederson could have stopped that. Well, there was no way he could have stopped either of the goals. So credit to him for such an amazing goal and for, you know what I mean? Like to see him anytime Idrissa Gueye scores, it's like sort of like when N'Golo Kante scores. It doesn't really happen too often. And it's like really good to see because like N'Golo Kante, he's the engine of his team. He's the engine of the midfield. He's the one who makes like they go as he goes. He doesn't get a lot of credit that he deserves, but nevertheless, it is what it is. I appreciate him. I understand his value and his worth to the team and what he brings forward. And then again, Leo Messi finally starting his scoring campaign with PSG with an incredible goal. Oh my God, an incredible goal in the late stages of the match. And credit to Kylian Mbappe for the incredible assist. Messi passes it off to Mbappe. Mbappe with the incredible flick back to Messi. Messi hits it off his left foot. Ederson has no chance to say that shit. Literally turns his head and watches that shit go straight to the back of the net. And, Messi starts doing what he does, yeah! So it was two really incredible goals and world-class goals. But I want to be the first to say that very disappointing on behalf of Manchester City, especially considering the strong performance they put against my team on Saturday against Chelsea. They came to the bridge and won 1-0. Even though I thought that the goal scoring opportunity they got that they actually scored on was a little iffy. It was just the outcome, the result of a bad touch by Jorginho, which found its way to Gabriel Jesus' foot, and he made an incredible play on the ball, and it ended up in the back of the net. Truth be told, Chelsea could have lost that game 3-0, 2-0, 4-0, if not for the fact that Edouard Mendy is such a class keeper. That game could have been even uglier. I don't know what City's expected goals were for that game, but it probably was like somewhere around 2 point something or 3. But like I said, very disappointing show out by Manchester City. And as I was watching the game and as I watched the highlights over again, it just showed me and it reiterated to me that soccer is one of those sports where you can dominate a game. You can dominate a game and be the best team for even 95% of the time on the field and still lose. I'm not saying that's the case that will happen, but definitely Manchester City were the better team from start to finish. Start to finish, Manchester City were the better team. They created more chances, and I don't want to say they had defensive lapses or anything like that, because honestly, like I said, both of the goals that were scored weren't anything like, it wasn't really like Manchester City made too many defensive blunders or anything like that. They were clean, they were concise at the back. João Cancelo and Ruben Diaz played lights out. They played pretty really, really good. Manchester City created chance after chance after chance. They should have scored. They should have scored at least 2-3 goals, but it just didn't work out the way it was. And simply put, they were not clinical in front of goal. Cough, cough. Bernardo Silva. What the fuck was that? Bernardo Silva. What the fuck was that? Bernardo Silva did his best impression of Timo Werner from last season. This guy missed. Oh my God. First of all, I watched that live. Raheem Sterling's header should have went in, didn't. This guy all he has to do is tap the ball in. And somehow he hits the ball and he hits the post and bounces out. My grandma could have scored that. My grandma could have scored that goal. I don't understand how a world-class player of his caliber misses an opportunity like that. Then he looks at the ref like that literally spelled Manchester City's efforts in front of goal. That play right there literally spelled their entire effort in front of goal that day. It just didn't make any sense. Like, after I seen that, I was like, okay, that's a little weird. Considering the team you're playing against, and you're playing at Parc de France, like, come on now. Like, that it doesn't even. But regardless, they created opportunity after opportunity after that. But like I said, they were not clinical at all. And that's honestly what it boiled down to. Even if they were slightly, I don't know, 1 or 2 chances, they would have changed the complexity of the entire game. But unfortunately, that's not the way shit played out. And that's just honestly how soccer is. First of all, I want to say that PSG didn't really pick, like, not PSG. Manchester City went to France with a strong team, a strong lineup. Unlike Chelsea, unlike a lot of teams, they're actually very, very healthy at the moment. They're not missing any key starters, nothing like that. They're not missing any of that. So they went there with a strong team, and I expected them to actually pull off the victory, but unfortunately they were not able to for the obvious reasons. Like I said, they weren't very clinical. And so it's crazy to think that PSG, they're not difficult to break down. They're not difficult to dissect. It's not really hard to understand their tactics and what's going on from their team, from their starting 11. There are 7 players that are tasked with defending and feeding the front 3 of the ball. Like, the front 3 are just move forward and try and score whenever you get the ball. And then the back 7 defend and try and give the front 3 the ball. That's all they do. Like, they're not really the most compact, concise team. So it wasn't surprising for me to see Manchester City create so many different opportunities and all these different things. But, in the game, as the game was flowing, you could kind of see some of the shades of, why Manchester City drew with Southampton in the Premier League, and, and some of the games that, you were kind of seeing some of the tendencies of why they drop points in the league. But then at the same, I don't know. I don't know what exactly it is or why that's the case. They create all these opportunities, but when I think about the game and exactly what happened and what I saw, it just reiterates the fact that Manchester City truly need a number 9, and they don't have one. I don't know if Pep doesn't believe in. I personally don't believe in me either. I don't think Gabriel Jesus is that good as Aguero at his prime, or as good as Harry Kane is now, or whatever the case may be. But I personally do not see Manchester City being able to go as far as they did this year in the as far as they did last year, without a true number 9 up front that can shut the fuck up, Siri. So I don't know. Honestly, it's still left to be said how Manchester City is going to play out, because that was honestly a very, very disappointing. Like, if I was a City fan, I would feel a little indifferent, because they played good, but not good enough. Like, they played good, they created chances, but it doesn't matter if you create chances if you can't be clinical and actually score. That's like one of my biggest problems when I was playing FIFA. I could create chances with the best of anybody, but my finishing was always off. Not always off. I would score goals, but definitely, if I was more clinical, I could bag way more goals. And it's crazy to see that happening in real life to professional players. But I mean, it is what it is. I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Very disappointing. Very, very. I don't want to say heartbreaking because it's the group stage, but definitely Manchester City. But definitely think situations like this and games like this are the reason why you can get a favorable matchup in the knockout phase versus why you get a tough matchup. You know, the person who wins their group gets the more favorable matchup versus the person who doesn't win their group gets the harder matchup. You know, the runner up of a group faces the winner of another group. So if you're the runner up of your group, you're going to most likely face a really, really strong side versus if you're the winner of your group, you're going to get a lesser side or a side that's not as strong as whatever. Because if they were that strong, they would have finished at the top of their group. So it's things like this is exactly what makes the Champions League what it is, like how it shakes up. That's just literally what it is, or just why any tournament shakes up like this. Games like this, with the teams that are at the top of the group duke it out, and then but their saving grace for Manchester City is there's another matchup with PSG. They're going to play them at home later on in the group stage, so we'll see how that plays out. I don't want to. The last thing I want to say is, personally, after seeing PSG's performance yesterday, I can confidently say, they're not going to win the Champions League. They are not going to win the Champions League. Oh my God, it's going to be a lot of the same stuff that we've seen from PSG over the past 3 years. It's not a given that Neymar will even be healthy because Lord knows he's never healthy for PSG's biggest. I think the biggest game he played for PSG was the Champions League final in 2020, but the other ones he's always hurt for whatever reason, and it seems like it's Mbappe by himself, run it, whatever. But I mean, this time around they have Messi, but I honestly don't think, after seeing what I saw yesterday, I just don't see them beating any really, really elite sides in Europe over the course of a two-leg game, like over a two-leg matches, whatever, however you want to put it. I can't see them beating Liverpool. I can't see them beating Bayern. I don't see them beating Chelsea. And I know that sounds biased, whatever. I don't see them beating Chelsea. And realistically, I don't see them beating Manchester City if it was a two-leg situation. Because, first of all, those goals were incredible goals, and that's not always going to happen. You don't always get that luck or whatever. And as poor as Manchester City was in front of goal, that's not always going to happen. So, if PSG actually do win the Champions League, I will honestly be shocked. Don't like the way they look as a team at all, honestly. I mean, they won, whatever, but it's also in how you win, the way the flow of the game. Like, for the most part, I really wasn't too impressed with how Messi played, even though he did bag a great goal. But for most of the game, he was kind of just like, not really. No, I don't want to say non-existent, but he wasn't really making his mark, making a statement. But at the same time, he is up there in age, and he is playing against a really, really good side. They were the champions of England last year. They did go to the Champions League final. They almost bagged the double. So, nevertheless, it is what it is. On to the next topic. Okay, so this one is going to be, I don't know. It's a sad occasion, but also a joyous occasion because we are here to. I don't want to say here to celebrate like he's passed away or anything like that, but we're celebrating the career of Manny Pacquiao, who retires after 26 years of being a nigga in the ring. And not surprised at all because we all saw this coming, especially after the way his last fight paid out. But Manny Pacquiao at this point in his career and at the age of 42 has nothing left to prove to anybody. He has nothing left to prove to any boxing fans. He has nothing left to prove to any boxing pundits. He has nothing left to prove to anyone that questions anything, nothing. He's already proved all of that shit. And let me be the first to say, wow, I did not know that Manny Pacquiao had been fighting for 26 years. Do you know what that means? He's 42. That means he started professionally boxing at 16. And he fought for 26 years. I'm 26. That means his first professional fight was the year I was born. That's crazy to think that that's 4 years away from almost 30 years of being a pro fighter. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy to think about. You know what I mean? Like, when you really put into into perspective how the way time works and just like how rigorously demanding boxing is, and just even not even boxing, doing anything or playing any sort of professional sport, like, you know, even like, let me say something random, like even being a drug dealer. Like, can you imagine being a drug dealer for 26 years? Like, that's a long time to be doing something, or being a gangbanger, or being a stripper, or being a basketball player. Like, that's a very, very long time to be doing the same thing and to be doing it at a very, very high level. That like, salute to him, honestly. Incredible. Manny Pacquiao was an 8-division champion, 12-time world champion, and what he did has never been done in boxing. Like, no one has ever reigned over 8 different divisions. Like, that hasn't been done. And honestly, Manny was able to do this as a product of his hard work, his tenacity, his effort, his upbringing, his speed, his skills. He was just a technical boxer. He was just really him. Like, I don't really know how to put this in. You know, one of the craziest things that I like to explain to people is, if I'm hearing your name, right? Because as a kid, you know, the only fighting I cared about was WWE. You feel me? I'm trying to see Undertaker slam the fuck out of Randy Orton. I'm trying to see Kurt Angle put niggas in the angle lock, niggas tap out. I'm trying to see John Cena, you can't see me, F5 and niggas through tables, all types of shit. Brock Lesnar, Rhino, the Gore, the Spear, all that. That's what I cared about when I was a kid. But I constantly would hear about the biggest names in the boxing world: Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao. I'm hearing about these dudes, and I don't watch boxing. I don't watch any of that shit. I didn't start watching boxing until probably 2012 or 2013 or something like that. So the fact that I had been hearing about this man's name for such a long time is a credit to how good of a boxer he was. Like, if you're not checking for someone or checking for a specific industry and you hear about their music, like, for example, like, as a black person, right? If you constantly hear about a white artist that you don't listen to, and like they're constantly being put, like, thrown in front of your face or whatever, they obviously have to be very, very big. Like, because if you're not checking for that and it's constantly still being brought in front of your face, they obviously have to be him. One of the things I loved about Manny Pacquiao is, just like I said, his obsessive work ethic, which is what brought, like, Manny Pacquiao is really one of the few people that can say, like, self-made. Like, I really got it. Like, it doesn't really get as muddy as Manny Pacquiao when with the phrase "got it out the mud." Like, Manny Pacquiao has experienced extreme poverty growing up in the Philippines. Extreme poverty. Like I said, he was self-made out the Philippines, came from nothing. At one point, Manny Pacquiao was standing on the corner selling rice. Standing on the corner selling rice. As a kid, had no shoes, no nut, like, standing on the corner selling rice, and would give the profits to his mom, and hopefully she could scramble up some whatever so they could eat. Man, it like, hearing about his story is so powerful, because it just shows why you should never give up on anything you do. If you love what you do and you believe in that shit and you believe in yourself, keep pushing forward. Never stop. Never stop for anyone. Never listen to the naysayers, the doubters. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. From the Philippines, from having nothing to being a millionaire, to now he's at the point where he's trying to run for president and improve his nation and give back to kids that were in the same position that he was in at one point. From 2006 to 2012, Manny Pacquiao was at his prime, and these are some of the people he took out. First of all, Manny Pacquiao retired Oscar De La Hoya. Put the whooping on that nigga. Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, Juan Manuel Marquez. He beat his ass twice. Unfortunately, the last time they fought, Manny got laid out. But nevertheless, it is what it is. Salute to Manny Pacquiao. Honestly, this is a very, very tragic loss for the boxing community, because Manny Pacquiao for sure is one of one. Like, he is not one of them, and he is one of them. He's him for sure. Shout out to him for a great career, an incredible career. He's for sure a top 10 fighter in the history of boxing. A lot of the stuff that we've seen him accomplish will never be replicated ever again. Like I said, 8-time 8-time division champ, eight division champion, 8, okay? 12-time world champion. And just like I said, he just he took out some of the most elite dudes in the sport at his peak, at his prime. And definitely gonna miss him and what he brought to the table for boxing. And it's just I'm happy I was able to see him at his best and doing what he does, because you just never know when we're gonna see something like that ever again. Like, the greats only come around once every 10, 15 years, 20 years if we're lucky. Some of these fighters, some of these basketball players, some of these football players are once in a lifetime, once in a generation. That's why you have to enjoy them and appreciate them while they are still here. Okay, with that being said, that concludes episode 68 of Pull Up the Tape. Thank you so much for everybody who's listening, subscribing, still rocking with me, still supporting me after my hiatus. I truly appreciate it. My name is Michael DeLu. This is Pull Up the Tape. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your coach, tell your friend, tell the ball boy, tell your teammate, tell the bitch you want to fuck, tell the niggas that you don't fuck with. Tell them about my podcast. I'm trying to take this shit to the top. All right? Bow, movie, viral, long live Kobe, long live Gigi. I'm out.